Welcome to this week's episode of Quick Gains, where I have a special guest this week. This is a guy who is a full-time content creator, influencer, mentor, trainer, teacher, homeschooler, business person, conference organizer slash guru. I could go on for a while with that one, but you get the gist.
Please do. Yeah.
He's got over 400,000 followers on predominantly YouTube, but also other social media platforms as well. A recognized expert in video marketing, creating online communities, vlogging, you name it. He's pretty much done it. He's responsible for helping generate hundreds of millions of views across multiple channels and millions of dollars in revenue for his clients. Worked with big brands, the Amazons, the VTechs and etc. of the world, and been featured in quite a few publications. So I give you none other than Scott Simson, the connoisseur of caps.
Well, thanks very much for having me, Dan. Super excited to join you today. It's always a pleasure when I get to speak with you. Always have a few laughs, and hopefully hopefully we'll get to continue that trend today.
We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I get the proximity effect going on my mic, and we'll get a little bit deep and meaningful.
There you go.
That's just not weird at all. So today we're talking all things video and all things content creation, running a business, how to transition from online content through to actually getting money in the bank, funnels, everything else. Now, I know we were talking recently where you've also just launched your videos and funnels program as well.
Yep.
There's a link to that just below. So let's start with where you've come from. Now, for those who don't know, Scott's YouTube channel is Scott and Canva. So I'll put the link to that in a bit up on screen. About 400,000 subscribers. Why did you start with vlogging? Let's start there.
You know what? We actually didn't start with vlogging. I started with motivational content. So 10 years ago, we wrote our first book, and it became a #1 bestseller on Amazon. And then we wrote a second book after that. And I used to travel around and speak to groups about the principles in this book. It was motivational in nature. It was a personal development book. And so I would talk to Rotary clubs and businesses and Chamber of Commerce meetings and things like that. And what happened in 2014, the summer of 2014, my wife was pregnant with my son, and she's getting to the point where she's like, listen, you just can't go anywhere anymore. I need you. And I was like, well, I guess we can try out this YouTube thing and see if it works. And so I started doing motivational content on YouTube, and sure enough, I got, 7 views on my first video, 20 views on my second, and then just kept growing from there until it was, a couple thousand, and then 50,000. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm speaking to a stadium of people. And then we kind of got into this weird funk where it was like, let's just bring our whole family into onto the channel and start doing family vlogs. It was like almost like I was running out of things to say in the motivational category. And so I was like, well, let's bring our family on and let's just leave them with motivation in each one of our videos. Just some principle of motivation, principle that we live by. And then it turned into this family vlog. And after a few years, the family vlog really took off. And so so we've been doing it ever since, and it's been awesome. And we've got, years worth of memories saved up, almost 1,000 videos that we've done. So it's been incredible.
See, I haven't actually looked back to your first videos, so you have schooled me in that one. So I didn't realize you started with something different. But I have seen some of the videos you've done recently. I think there was one which was a neighbor. I can't remember what you called it, but basically you were going around almost like tag with a bit of like a horror undertone, hiding sunglasses around your house.
Yep.
It just looks so much fun.
Yeah. So that was Hello Neighbor. So what was interesting over the last 6 years, YouTube has changed a lot. When we first got on YouTube, you could virtually do anything, and YouTube might give you traffic for it. And so some videos our videos would skyrocket, and then other videos would tank, and it was kind of equal opportunity with any subject that you created content under. And then in 2017, the algorithm search and discovery system changed, and it became very categorical. So it became very niche focused. And so family vlogs, it wasn't as easy to go random with your content and just do daily content on whatever it is that you're doing. You could create a title and maybe it would take off. You had to be very specific. And so games was a big category that people were being successful with, and we've had a lot of success with games on our channel. We don't really like them because it turns into a job when you have to do the same game over and over and over again. But we still have fun with it on occasion, and so we played some Granny, we've played some Hello Neighbor, and I mean, just silly, stupid, but fun. We have a lot of fun with it.
And I mean, I think that's what I get from you and your content, and it's just you as a person. To be fair, you're always very chilled out, very happy, very kind of just a mellow, genuine, chilled out guy. And there's a lot of other people who they almost come across like they're trying too hard, and I never get that from you.
Yeah, there's an evolution that you go through, a personal evolution that you go through as a content creator, and everybody starts trying to be somebody else, and it's because we watch YouTube and we find people that we love to watch, and we find people that are like, oh my gosh, I could do that, and so that's who we emulate. And for me, it was Shay Carl. In the beginning, it was I watched the Shay Tards. They were a big family vlog in 2014, 2015. And very inspiring to us, but I started to emulate them. And then very quickly, I realized that's not the type of content creator that I want to be. I just want to be myself. And so over the years, I have slowly come more into who I actually am as a creator, and it fits perfectly with who I am as a person. So now people get the real authentic Scott instead of the fake Scott who's trying to put on a show. I want people to just get to know me as a person, and if they like me, great. If they don't, I don't care. But that it is what it is. It's too hard being somebody else.
And it's true what they say, isn't it? Where you've got all you really need is 1,000 true fans, and that's it.
That's it. Yep.
And so tell us a little bit. You went through the evolution, as you said, with your channel, but you also run and a CEO of the video marketing world. So that's conferences, online communities. How did that start?
So a couple of years ago, when YouTube really was trying to push us into the gaming side of things, and we were resisting it. We didn't want to go down that path because we didn't feel like it was going to be good for our family. We could already tell, like when we would play games, a lot of it would be like, you need to say this now, you need to say that now. And the authenticity of it was starting to disappear. And so the kids were liking it less. Camber and I were liking it less. And so my thought was, we've gained all this knowledge, we've gained all these subscribers, all this clout on social media. Let's take that and kind of go back to the motivational route, or to the public speaking route, and share our knowledge with people who might be interested in learning how to use YouTube to grow their business, or how to grow their own family vlog or whatever. And so I had been thinking about creating a community of people who are business owners, and then offering them some type of a conference, or or workshops or something like that. And then I approached my business partner who owned Video Marketing World at the time. And he's like, you know what? I've been trying to get out of it. What if we just partner, and I'll just give you a percentage. I'll give you a percentage, make you the CEO, and then we'll do this together. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so I ended up taking over. And I've, since then I've taken over more, and now it's become this awesome event, an annual event, and super excited about the future of it. It's going to be awesome.
we'll probably be a bit remiss if we don't talk about the events of the year, just because let's face it, it's been a bit of a doozy. So
It has.
well, yeah, that's an understatement. I was at I think the last major event, which is the social media marketing world.
Yeah.
Quicc were going to be sponsoring and showing up. We were going to be on a panel and various other things we were going to be doing at Video Marketing World earlier this year. That obviously didn't happen. So talk us through a little bit from your perspective. That must have been a challenge, to say the least.
Yeah, it was it was really difficult for us because we came off of our event last August and we had moved the 2020 event to April. So we gave ourselves 8 months to prep another event. And it was almost from the day that we closed, in 2019, we were starting planning for 2020 and looking for sponsors and selling tickets. I mean, I think we started selling tickets in November, so it was a really quick turnaround. And going from, I don't know if you've ever run events, Dan, or any of you guys who are watching this, if you've ever run events, that it's a lot of work. Just the planning and prep that goes into a live event is insane. And so in March, when coronavirus really started kind of revving up, we made the decision, I think before any of the other major conferences, to cancel our conference. And we had already sold a lot of tickets and people were excited. People had bought plane tickets and all sorts of stuff. We had sponsorships, that we had to mail checks back to people. And that was sad. But ultimately it allowed us enough time to make a pivot. We had 6 weeks to make a pivot to online. And I feel like just being able to do that kind of, I don't want to say we were like pioneers. I think that all these other events would have gone online anyway, but I think that we kind of set a standard a little bit for Video Marketing World and online events, and it ended up being really cool. We actually ended up using StreamYard, what we're on right now, combined with a Facebook group, and it worked out really, really well. And then after our event, Zoom came out with their breakout rooms and all sorts of tech has come out in support of online events over the last 6 months. But when we first started in April, nobody had anything to offer. So we just made the best of what we could. Now, the other cool thing was I knew that everybody was at home. Celebrities, I mean, like everybody was at home. And so I was like, we need an A-lister to come to Video Marketing World to help us sell tickets and draw in a crowd and things like that. And so I started sending out emails, and I'm like, I'm going to send out emails to every successful celebrity that I know, and see if anybody will return my message. And so I messaged Mark Cuban was number one, and then I messaged PewDiePie. And then after I got done sending my message to PewDiePie, I heard back from Mark Cuban's people, and he said that he would do it. And there we go. So we had Mark Cuban at Video Marketing World online this year, and it was fantastic. Cool. It was awesome. I never heard back from PewDiePie though, so that guy
next year,
he's just too big.
But it's true what they say, isn't it? You don't get unless you ask.
Yeah, so, no, that was it. And it was about a week and a half away from the event, and I was just like, we need an A-lister. Got to get an A-lister, and we got him.
If he hadn't have said yes, how many people would you have emailed until you found someone?
I was prepared to email 100 people. And I figured if I emailed 100 people, I would get at least one person to say yes. And so I was just going to sit down and email everybody that I could possibly think of until I got a yes. So it wasn't I wasn't going to take a no. I knew we needed somebody. So I was like, we're going to do this until we make it happen.
You see, that's entrepreneurship 101, isn't it? Just keep on grinding until it works.
Yep. 100%.
So how do you see the future of Video Marketing World now? I mean, we'll get into some tactics and some education stuff in a bit. But I am curious because we talked about this a little bit before, but obviously things are still evolving, aren't they? Yeah, they're still changing. They're still Are we going to open up again? Are we not going to open up again? Are we, back to lockdown? Is lockdown ending? Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
So, so what's your plans for Video Marketing World moving forward?
So that's a really good question. We were actually talking about it this morning. I'm getting the video marketing world itch again. I was like, it's been 6 months since, no, almost 5 months since our last one, and so I'm like, okay, I'm getting excited for another one, but obviously we need to see where coronavirus is, and so I think I'm kind of waiting out the fall to see what happens, if it continues on a downward trend in the United States, or if it revs back up, if states relax their requirements, if we follow the Swedes here in Texas, and they just say, you know what, to heck with it, just take your masks off and let's just get this over with. So we're just kind of waiting. I think there's a lot of it is kind of hinging on the election too. So we'll see what happens after November. And I'll probably make the decision sometime in December when we're going to have it, and what it's going to look like. I really like having live events, and I know a lot of people do too. There's just something about locking yourself in a hotel for 3 days and just networking and getting the information, workshopping, and then hanging out after hours in the lobby and just having a party and just interacting with people and collaborating. There's just something about having live events that I miss and that we need to have. The online events are fun, and you get a lot done, and they're definitely more efficient. But I need to get back to the live events, because I feel like that's where the magic happens and where people really learn and grow.
I totally agree. I mean, I mentioned Social Media Marketing World event back in March, and I'll be honest, I didn't go to a single educational talk, keynote, or anything. I didn't go to any of them at all.
Yeah.
Because I figured I could just catch it on the replay. I spent all of my time literally meeting people, having conversations, doing live streams, collaborating.
Mhm.
And I got a huge amount of benefit from that, both, as my role within Quicc, but also personally as well. Like the mindset shifts, the things that were just clicking, all of that came from just talking to people in the lobby, out after show events, and pizzas, and just
Yep.
randomly showing up in someone's lobby and just going to get pizza.
Yeah.
It's like, where are we going? I don't know. Are we in Uber? Yes. Who's paying for it? I don't know.
See, that was the cool thing about Video Marketing World, is we actually provide everybody's meals. So if you stay in the hotel, you get the breakfast, and then we provide, well, we don't provide dinner, but we provide lunch. And so we'll have an hour break, and everybody will get their plates, and they'll go hang out in the lobby and sit in groups and just meet each other. And it's just phenomenal. It's just phenomenal.
So much value just in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you think about having an at-home conference or a virtual conference. We had 500 people this year for a virtual conference, and really only about 60 people were on at any given time. And so I knew that people were going to be fighting, their kids, Mom, I need a sandwich, and then they're going to go make a sandwich and not pay attention. And so that's what I love about live. It's like, you're there. You can't leave. We got you.
And I think that's the point. There's a lot of people who say that virtual events are the way forward because, like you say, it's easier, it's more efficient, it's flexible. You can do it from your own home and everything else, which is fine if you're just there for education, if you're just there for like dipping in and out.
Yeah.
But if you really want to focus, you have to get your backside out of your bedroom or out of your study or out of your living room off your laptop.
Exactly.
You got to.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, so I wasn't actually going to ask about this, but I think I will.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's not.
That's a good setup.
So there's a lot of people out there, and there's a lot of events, there's a lot of virtual summits, and differentiating is quite a challenge when you're talking about similar topics, So do you focus on, would you suggest to people watching, do you focus on the content and the education and the transformation, or do you focus on the community and the relationship and the partnerships and the person? Which angle do you go with the most?
In creating content?
In building a business, scaling,
Oh, in building business.
growing.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
missed the first part of that question. In building a business, will you repeat the question for me one more time?
I'm trying to get it worked out in my head.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people who are trying to grow their businesses. I probably should have led with that. They're
Yep.
trying to pivot. They're trying to grow. They're trying to do different things, and the online space has all of a sudden got very, very busy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's a lot of people out there who are saying, just, create the content, give the value, teach the lessons, sell your courses. And that's all we need to do. Put some paid advertising behind it, job done. And there's the other camp, which is connect with the person first and build that relationship, and the business follows afterwards. So which camp would you say you would fit into? Which one do you think is better?
Yes.
Is that too
Both.
complicated?
So here's the deal, and this is kind of my perspective on everything, is you have to be a master of both. You've got to play the long game where it's building relationships, and that's in the form of YouTube, that's in the form of doing LinkedIn videos and Instagram lives and Facebook lives and doing those types of things, building that relationship, because you can't just come out. I mean, you can come out with just ads and you probably can win some eyeballs and win some views, but it's the long-term relationships that will keep purchasing from you, that are going to build your list, that fall in love with you, who know you because of your authenticity. And so what I always try to tell people is you start the method or model that I use for most people who are trying to build a business online is you start going a mile deep with YouTube. And the reason YouTube is because it's a search engine. Really, like, if you think about it with Facebook, if you try and do it with Facebook, you might have an amazing video on a Friday, but by the time Monday comes around, that video is a mile scroll down, and nobody's commenting on it anymore. And so it's not getting shared. It's not getting eyeballs on it. Whereas with YouTube, you put a piece of content out on a Friday and it just keeps getting traffic because people are searching for it, or people are finding it through YouTube search, where they can't do that through Facebook. And so my philosophy is you build a mile deep through YouTube, and YouTube is a relationship game. It's all about building a community and having a relationship with an audience. And then you can migrate that audience over to Facebook, over to Instagram, over to LinkedIn. And that's where you can promote your products and services, because really, again, those posts are going to be gone after a few days. And so it's not like people are only, when they search your name, they're only seeing advertisements. So the point is I think, to make to try and shorten that answer a little bit, is both are extremely important. But I think that having that relationship is critical to building a long-term successful business.
I kind of thought that was what you were going to say. Yeah, because I do. I mean, we at Quicc and me with my brand as well. It's the kind of questions that get asked a lot. It's, how do I grow my business? Where do I start? What do I do? How do I do it? How do I get consistent? What if I get clients that I don't like? And there's all the meta type of stuff that people worry about. And this is getting into the education side. So where would you say someone should start before we talk about tactics or strategies or growth or the technical aspects? What are the real core foundations of being a creator that you think people should start with?
Passion, having an idea that it hurts you not to talk about it, or it's something that you talk about all the time anyway. And so creating content online is going to be easy for you, because YouTube is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's going to take time, and it's going to take energy. And if you're creating content on a topic that you don't care about at all, then it's going to be really hard when when you plateau, or when you kind of reach that point where you're starting to feel like, the excitement has worn off, and I don't know what to say now. You're gonna hit that point eventually, in any channel that you do, where there's just no momentum on your channel, and you're waiting for YouTube algorithm to start picking up your content. If you're not excited about what you're talking about, it's really difficult to get over that hump. So I'd say the first place is to find out what you're passionate about, and then create a list of all of the different titles that you feel like you could create content on. So, if you're talking about vacuum cleaners, if you're really excited about vacuum cleaners, come up with a list of 50 videos that you could create all about vacuum cleaners. And then that's your list that you're going to start with. And as you get going, you'll be able to add more content to that list. But you really want to start with a plan in place, and you want to be passionate about what you're talking about. Because if you're not passionate, you're just going to end up feeling like it's a job and burning out.
So how long's a piece of string? This is probably a very dynamic answer, but in your experience, how long does it actually take a creator starting on a platform like YouTube to actually start seeing that momentum?
So there's it depends on every category, but there's kind of from what I've noticed, and I've worked on a lot of channels, I manage a lot of channels, I help a lot of creators work on channels. There's usually about a 4-month window to where you're just creating content and nothing is really going to happen on YouTube. You're not going to really have any momentum. And then when 4 months kicks in, then you'll start to see these spikes where YouTube's like, okay, this video is looking good. Boom, let's give it some traction. This video is looking good. Boom, let's give it some traction. We launched a channel last year in January, and it was April. In January, you could see it would get 1, 2, 5, 10 views a day, and then it went up to 20 and 30, and that was all through February, and then 40 and 50 through March. And then in April it was like boom, 7,000. And but we had to be consistent. We were creating 4 videos a week for 4 videos a week every single week, and we did that from January to April. And yeah, then it took off.
Do you think that creating more, this is something that's asked quite a lot, I'm sure, but is creating more content good or bad? So if you create 2 videos and then you up to creating 4 videos, are you going to halve your time to traction, or does it not work like that?
It doesn't work like that. It's not every video gets you twice as much views as the one before, or a percentage of a percentage more views. It's not typically how it works. There are some channels that come out of the gate swinging for whatever reason. They get a lot of momentum right in the beginning and they can take off. I mean, we've seen it a lot on YouTube, where there's just there's a lady I think in Mexico, a grandma in Mexico, who's cooking on a hot stone, and her channel absolutely skyrocketed right out of the gate. Now she has millions of subscribers. The dad, How Do I? He's one in I think up in Washington, where his channel skyrocketed from the beginning. Now obviously he got some exposure from Reddit, but now he's got multiple millions of subscribers. So there are some tactics that you could use to grow a channel quickly, but for most channels on average it's going to take about 4 months. And then I'm talking in circles now because I forgot the question. What was the question that you had?
Creating more content, actually.
Oh yeah, creating more content. Yes. So in terms of creating more content, so when I start a channel, I err on the side of creating more content, so 3 to 4 videos per week, as opposed to 1, because from what I've noticed with 1 is that it will ultimately take a little bit longer in certain categories in order to gain some traction. If I do 3 to 4 videos per week, then it seems like YouTube has an easier time categorizing you and giving you momentum on some of that content sooner rather than later. It's got a larger pool to draw from, and you can start seeing some momentum on your content a little bit sooner. When I create a channel with 4 videos per week, I can usually start to see some momentum within about a month. Not massive momentum, but I can start to see a video start to pick up some steam and grow a little bit faster than the other videos.
So slight, well, not really a sideways step, but just dipping into the content topics for a second. And I mean, do you mind if we dig into tactics for a bit?
Let's do it. Love it.
So a lot of, well, in content creation, you focus on your core pillars. You know, like you say, if you want to create videos on vacuum cleaners, then just have a list of 50 videos all about vacuum cleaners. But if one video takes off, do you then stop the posting of scheduled content which you've got going after that and double down on that specific kind of subcategory or subtopic that actually took off? Or do you just carry on as you were and let the algorithm kind of fill in the gaps?
That's a really good question too. So the double down strategy is absolutely something that I recommend, but I don't go all in and create 10 duplicates of that all in a row. I try and space them out a little bit, because what you want to do is, or what you want to avoid is becoming so niche that you limit yourself on what type of content you can create, or the variety of content under your subject. And so if you become the how to create an angled joint on, a piping for your plumbing or whatever, if you become that guy, you can only make like 3 videos before you're maxed out on video content. So what I typically do is I will watch trends, first of all, watch competition and see what they're doing, and watch trends and what's happening in industries, because there's always opportunities for success in different industries. But then I will also have a content list of titles that are possibilities that are always on the back burner, where I just have a list of 50 titles that I can just pull from if there's nothing that's happening in the news, things that are highly searchable, that I know that the keywords are getting traffic on YouTube. I'll just pull from that list rather than just pull something out of thin air. But as far as doubling down, what I typically do is I will create a piece of content, and if it skyrockets, then I'll wait a couple weeks, then I'll double down on it, and then I'll wait in a couple more weeks, and then I'll double down on it again, all the while producing more content in between, because you never know if another video on another subtopic is going to take off at any point, and you want to continue to move forward and create as much content as you can under that one subject, where you're giving yourself a lot of different opportunities for success.
While you were explaining that, and this is why I love talking to you, because all these things kind of like click in my brain. I think I always looked at YouTube as kind of like a mountain. You're kind of just building and building and building. Whereas it just clicked in my head, you're basically building your version of the Himalayas. So you're not building like one mountain, are you? You're building multiple mountains and a range, and that's what you're doing with multiple pieces of content.
Yes.
How did that not twig in my head before now?
We need to have this conversation to figure that out.
You do.
No, and I mean, you look at our channel and you can see what YouTube ranks us for, just by looking at our content. Like we had a couple of drowning rescue training drill videos, where the first drowning rescue training drill that I did got 9 million views. And so I doubled down on it a couple months later, and the next one got 19 million. And then I doubled down on that again, and it got a few 100,000. And then, we've got our granny game videos, where the first one we did got over 2 million views. And then the second one we did got 600,000, and the third one 1 million. And so now YouTube is ranking me for drowning rescue training drills and granny. And then, we have a tornado video in between, and that gets 2 million views. And so there's all of these different keywords now that YouTube's like, okay, anytime Scott and Camber produce a piece of content using these keywords, then we're going to give them traffic. And so we know that I can build I know I could build my channel to 1 million subscribers if all I talked about was tornadoes, because every time I do tornado video, I get 1,000 subscribers or whatever. So, but that's not what we wanted to do. We want it to be, across the board. We want to have a variety of things, because it's more important to us to capture our memories than it is to serve our audience exactly what YouTube is giving us traffic for right now. And that's not what we want as a family. We want, when I'm 80 years old, I don't want to watch 100 videos on tornadoes. I want to watch videos that were real, about our life in the moment. So
you can look back on it, and that can be the smallest mountain in your range. It can still be in your view.
Exactly.
So when you've got your content, you've got things that are taking off. Another question that gets asked a lot is, should I pay to give my videos a bit of a kick? Does that even work? Because there's a lot of people that you and I both know who are for it, but there's also a lot of people who say, worst thing you should probably do ever.
Yeah. I would never pay to promote a video unless that video was directing someone to a purchase. I wouldn't just pay to promote a video. And I've talked to people where they're like, it's like throwing gas on a fire. I'm like, no, it's really not. What I have noticed, from my experience with actually testing that and doing that, is that it will give you a lot of traffic for a while. But then when you stop paying for it and the traffic dies, and then the audience watch time from paid traffic is so low, that then YouTube's like, well, we're not going to promote it because there's just not a lot of audience watch time. And so I never recommend paying for your traffic. If anything, what I would say to do, if you want to pay for anything, is create a course or create some type of an advertisement, or an ebook or something like that, and create an ad for that ebook, and then collect everybody's email addresses, right? And then people are going to watch your ad, and then they're going to go check out your channel. Some people are going to watch your ad and then check out your channel because they're interested in you, and it's kind of a collateral, a collateral, I don't know, just symptom of paying for ads, is that you're going to get some traffic from it, but those are going to be the right type of people who are more interested in what you have to say, not the wrong type of people where you're just force feeding your content. Before they're in a pre-roll ad, they're going to see your ad or see your video come up first, and they're going to be like, who's this guy? And not really even care about it. So that's kind of my philosophy on paying for traffic. Just don't do it.
It kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, doesn't it? Where my very long, convoluted, strange question about, community or business approaches. It's if you've got a business need that you need filling, then, paid traffic, kind of, get the email address, nurture, selling a product, upsells, that kind of stuff. But everything else is one-to-one, human connection, relationship building, community.
Yeah. Build it organically. There's nothing better than organic growth, because those are the people who actually want you. And they're paying for traffic is kind of like, it's a path to burnout, because what ends up happening is that you'll pay for traffic on a video, and that video will get 5,000 views, and you get so excited. And then the next video, if you don't pay for traffic, will get like 7 views. And so then you have to keep spending money. It's like a drug addiction, right? It's like you have to keep paying for that boost of serotonin, right? Where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm excited. I got 5,000 views on this video, but it's all fake. And the people don't really care about what you have to say. And so essentially you're just feeding a habit or an addiction of getting excited about views. It's not a good thing to do.
And there's a question, I'm not sure who it's from, because we're multi-streaming into our Facebook group at the moment, so I don't know who it's from because it's just a user. Hi to Rob and Miss Betty Fitness as well. Hello, I just saw you come online as well. Any questions around video marketing, YouTube, growth, scale? stick them into the comments and we'll get to them. This one, from whoever it's from, is there anything you can look for in the first 4 months to encourage you through that hump? This is when you were talking about the 4-month hurdle. You know, how do you, what suggestions would you give to keep yourself motivated and to keep going? And, you know, what sort of things might you look for that would think, there's momentum, there's something happening?
You know, I think that the biggest thing is, well, I mean, there's a couple of things. Like I already talked about, just being passionate about what you're talking about, right? That it really all boils down to passion. If there's something that you literally cannot stop talking about in life, then you're not going to burn out on YouTube talking about it. One of my friends, actually, I worked with him on his YouTube channel. He's a self-taught weatherman, and he loves the weather. He talks about it all the time, and he knows everything about the weather, and his predictions are spot on, accurate, 99% of the time. And so when he started creating content on YouTube, he found other weather enthusiasts that were also passionate about YouTube, and his channel started to grow relatively quickly. But he's passionate about the weather, and he's always going to be talking about it anyway. So just make sure that you're talking about something that you enjoy, that you like. Number two, you have to remember that every single person who is watching you is an actual person. It's not just a number, right? Sometimes people get it in their mind, like they'll see a number and they'll just think, oh, okay, yeah, 700 people are watching me. 700 people, those are real people. If you put them in a room, you'd need a big conference room to fit 700 people in it. That's your audience. And so you always got to remember every step of the way that whether it's 2 people who are watching or 10,000 people are watching, those are real people who want to hear what you have to say. And so it's kind of a little bit of a mind game that you have to play with yourself, is to just imagine, just picture those people. And when you're creating your content, and then it gives more meaning to your content. Now you're actually doing this for humans, not just for a number. You're doing it for actual people, and that'll help you get through the hump as well. So, for example, right now we're on about month 3 of a new YouTube channel that I created, and it's been going all right. We've got a couple hundred people who are watching on average each time we upload, which is awesome. And so that's kind of the game that I have to play with my mind. Is like, we're on month 3, things haven't really started revving up yet, but I have 200 people who are looking forward to my content every time I upload it. 200 people that I'm impacting, and that's amazing. That's a lot of people, and so that gives me motivation to keep moving and keep going forward. But then also, engaging with people in the comments and just like acknowledging or speaking with them as humans, that also helps as well, because then you have people in the comments who would be like, hey, remember me? Or, hey, I was going through this and you helped me through that. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. I'm glad I'm making an impact. But I think that those are a few things, just trying to humanize your audience, and then engage with your community in the comments will really help you get through that hump.
We've got another question from the DIY social media channel. So, paid traffic is basically like gambling. Yes, I think we would both agree on that one. So, any tips you've got for turning already followers into hard, loyal fans? That was a 2-parter.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a number of things. So we call this community development, and there are things that you can do to actually get your audience to fall deeper in love with you. It sounds a little bit awkward, but Russell Brunson calls it building a culture, building your culture. And then it is. So for example, having a mission statement that people can rally behind, and that will help develop that community. Having things, inside jokes that you tell on one video, and then you bring back up, 2 months later, you bring back up every few videos. So like, for example, in our in this new channel that I've started, we have a couple hashtags that we use that are inside jokes. So we say, you never know how to say, is it niche or is it niche, right? And so we just have a hashtag niche niche, and that's NEESH and NITCH, right? So we spell them all weird. And so then we'll bring that up every few videos, and it makes the people who have been watching a while know or feel like insiders. Like there's certain tactics that we'll use to make people feel like they're part of something special. And we'll also have the on some of our channels it'd be like the minute one squad. You want to try to compete to be the first one to make a comment in minute one of us releasing a new video. And so that helps build that community. And then there's another tactic where we'll actually let people fight for us in our comments. So sometimes people will come in and leave a troll comment, and the first inclination is to delete that comment so that way we don't feel bad. But if you look at it from a bird's eye perspective and you don't let it emotionally affect you, it's more important for you to leave that comment and let your audience fight for you, because an audience who fights for you, it builds loyalty. That audience is going to become more loyal, and now they're your protector, and they see themselves that way, especially if you acknowledge it. Thanks you guys for helping me with the troll comments yesterday. It was very kind of you. Obviously we don't promote trolling, that type of thing. Then they're like, oh my gosh, they're acknowledging me. I'm a protector. So there's a lot of those types of things that you can do in your content to help establish a deeper connection with your community.
I actually love that answer. I mean, funny enough, there was an incident on a Facebook group I'm in a couple of days ago where, I mean, it's about 10,000 members in there, about 12,000 actually, I think. And some people had been, joining the group and doing self-promotion, kind of check out my new video and watch it all the way through to the end and give me some comments, and feedback would be great. But they're really just using it as like a promo hub for their content.
Yeah.
And the admins came in and said, look, unless we basically authorize you to post your videos in the group, don't do it. If you do it, 3 strikes and you're out, basically. And some people like myself, I was like, yep, fine, 100%, totally get it. There was other people who was like, right, that's me out, or how dare you talk to us like that, and where's this iron fist coming from with some of the other comments. And I'm like, you're promoting within someone else's house your own stuff. So, I mean, why are you getting on the defensive about that? But you're right. I mean, there were so many people who were flocking to the defense of that admin, and those are the people who are your ideal clients. The people who leave aren't. So, correct. Yeah. That's another thing that we've learned in business is that you can't please everybody, and the bigger you get, the harder it becomes, and the more that fact becomes a fact, is that there are just going to be people who hate you because your eyes are blue, or you're, wearing a stupid hat, or, whatever. And so once you stop trying to please everybody, it allows you to be more authentic to who you are, because then you can say things that, people are going to disagree with, but it doesn't matter because those aren't your true fans. What you're trying to do, it's like you've got a stick, right? And you got a knife, and you're trying to whittle this into this like beautiful, beautiful walking stick or whatever. And you have to get rid of the parts of that piece of wood that you don't want, that don't serve you well. And you do that by just being more authentic. And the people who love you are going to love you. They're going to become those diehard fans. And the people who don't are going to leave, and that's totally fine. Just accept that, and it'll be so much easier to create an awesome community of loyal fans, because you get rid of the people that don't care about you. I know that sounds harsh, but at the same time, it's like this. It's business, and it's a reality. So once you get that into your mind, then it becomes easy to develop that community. I think a slight side point here is that I just see there's a comment just from Studio Geek 32. So Studio Geek 32 is this guy in a community that I'm a part of. His name's Sammy. Now, Sammy is, I'm sure he won't mind me saying this. He's a young guy. He's 13, 14, 15 years old. He's a young guy.
Awesome.
He's not necessarily in it for the business. He's in it for the passion, as you say. But a lot of the people in the gaming niche that he's operating in, they are adults, business people, professional streamers, businesses. There's a lot of competition.
Yep.
So he's navigating a lot of that stuff right now as well. And I mean, what tips should you give to someone like him who he's in it very much for the passion because he loves gaming, but he's having to navigate around the business side of things as well? How would you, what kind of tips or advice would you give someone like him?
So I think that, I mean, there's a couple of things. So my cousin is he's a gamer. He's got 1.3 million subscribers. He does Fortnite and Fortnite news, and he kills it. So I understand the gaming side of things a lot. So is the question more so about how Sammy can create, how he should build his model, or is it more so about how he should navigate in finding creators that he likes and then also not be impacted by the business side of things? More
the latter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, in that case, it's kind of like you will find in any category, right? Whether it's gaming or blogging or mommy blogging or fashion, anything like that, there are going to be people who are always constantly trying to sell you things, and those people will either be most of the time those people actually won't grow very well because they haven't built an authentic connection with their customer, with their community. My wife is friends with a lot of very successful people in fashion and on the mommy blogging side of things, and they're incredibly amazing at providing value 10 times before they ask for something in return one time. So they give you 10 times the amount of value than they ask for. Now, in the gaming side of things, is like, yeah, there is business. There is a whole business side of things. In fact, like I tell all of my clients, if you don't have a business connected to your YouTube channel, then you're doing it wrong. But the idea is that you're always giving value, and everything that I talk about, like I give away, I have programs and courses and books and all sorts of stuff. I give away everything that I am selling. I give it away. I give it away in pieces and chunks, and I do it on YouTube, and I do it in my Facebook lives. And people still buy my stuff because, number one, they want an aggregate. They want everything together. They want it in a package, and that's easy to see. And then they also want a connection to me. They also want to be coached personally by me, and I get that. But my obligation is like, or what I feel personally obligated to do is give away everything anyway, because that's the value side of things. And if I'm giving it away and they fall in love with me giving them stuff, then my business will grow as a side effect. And so that's kind of the philosophy that I have. Now, it's you can find people that are salespeople, and they might try to sell to you, and you have the choice to not watch them. So I think it's just a matter of kind of picking and choosing who you're following and what they're doing, and then finding the people you love and sticking with them.
It is really a mindset shift. It's focusing on passion, focusing on who you serve, who you want to help, and really just ignoring everyone else.
Yeah.
It's not very much complicated than that. I know that sounds like an easy answer or like an obvious answer, but it's not as easy to do, is it?
No, it's not. In every community, like whether you're doing marketing, blog marketing online, or you're doing video marketing, or you're in e-commerce, there's always people who are doing it well, and there are always people who are doing it worse, and there's always hard feelings about things, and it's really difficult to turn on those blinders and just focus on your path. Because really, like, there is some advantage to looking at your competition, see what they're doing, see if there's anything that you can do to grow your channel or grow your business by implementing some of the things that they're doing. I think that the biggest thing is that you need to realize as a business owner in this space is that um, no matter what, there are always going to be people who are doing better than you, and always going to be people who are doing worse than you. And if you can acknowledge that, then you won't have to feel jealous. You won't have to be upset. You won't have to talk crap about somebody else. And you can have good relationships with people.
And that's one thing. Actually, I was watching a couple of live streams that Pat Flynn did recently,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'll be honest, I've never actually seen much of his content. I've seen him around. I think I listened to an audiobook of his years ago, but I've never actually watched his live streams. And one of the things there's actually two things I saw, which is exactly the kind of things you've been talking about for the past couple of minutes. One of them was the insider joke. So, I mean, he has the hashtags and everything, team Pat for the win or team Flynn for the win. I think that's what he says at the end of the streams. But there's this, I can't even remember what the word is because it's just this random made up word that he actually puts into every single stream that he does. And it's an inside joke. And so he'll be talking around the houses about something, or he'll be talking about, a particular topic that he's teaching on at that time. And he'll just come out with, well, it's really like blah, blah, blah. And he'll just carry on in the sentence. But the inside jokes, if you watch it all the way through and he doesn't say that word, then the next stream, he's got to basically do something embarrassing that he really doesn't want to do.
Okay.
So the inside joke is that he has to say the words. So there's a lot of his audience who literally watch the streams trying to catch him out, to hold
brilliant.
him to it.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's 100% those types of things, because then it's like, then you're managing the watch time as well, right? Then you've got a core audience of people who are going to watch your content from start to finish just to see if you say that word. And it's a brilliant tactic, and it helps build that community and helps people feel connected to you, more connected to you.
And the other thing that he does, which again, I hadn't noticed it until I noticed it, and now it's all I notice, is that he acknowledges the people who gives him thumb downs on his video. So someone's watching and they might even watch the entire thing and still get a thumbs down halfway through and then carry on watching, which is weird. But but when he sees thumbs down, he'll just say, "Thanks for the thumbs down. Either way, you're feeding the algorithm, but I hope you can turn that frown upside down." And he will just carry on with the stream. But he doesn't let it impact him, like you were saying before. He doesn't let that stop him serving the whole, which I love. And I think you do the same thing in different ways, which I've always admired as well. So,
Oh yeah. I'm long past the point of caring about what other people think about me online. In fact, Dan Kennedy's got a quote. It's, if you're not offending somebody by noon every day, you're not marketing hard enough. And I love that. And it gives you permission to just be yourself, understanding that people are going to be mad no matter what. Maybe they just woke up on the wrong side of bed. I don't care. It doesn't apply to me. And there's very little that you could say to me that are actually going to affect me. And I know that it's just somebody out there having a bad day, and I don't care about it. With that said, I care about my community members, but I don't care about the troll comments that they leave.
Yeah. I mean, there's something a mindset coach of mine said to me years ago, because I mean, I talked about this in a different stream, just a lot of childhood bullying and a lot of kind of baggage that came through the years as a result of that. And I actually went through therapy to kind of release myself of that burden, I guess you could say.
Sure.
And one of the things that the mindset guy taught me to do was basically that someone else's problems, you can have empathy and love and care for the fact that they've got those problems, and you can help them with them, but they're not yours. And I remember having that conversation with my wife, and she was telling me about problems she was having at work. A challenging, not her boss, but a director in another part of the business who was just basically giving a hard time.
Uh-huh.
And I'm talking to her about it, and I made that comment of, she was like, well, you don't seem angry. And I was like, but I love you. You're my wife and everything, but it's not my problem. It's your problem. So I'll help you with it if you want help with it, but it's not mine. She's like, but why is it not impacting you? She's like, because it's yours. It's not mine. It's just like, what? And I had to explain that to her because she actually got a little bit pissed off about it. But now she gets it. She's like, oh, so you help me till, your dying breath, but you won't take it on your shoulders. I was like, no, because it's not mine.
Yeah. Good on you.
That was an uncomfortable conversation. Like, a year into marriage.
I think that's how I think a lot about our audience, and a lot of the times when they say something negative, I feel bad for them in their moment, but I know that it's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of them and what they're going through. And if you're confident in who you are and you're happy with what you're doing, and in your, you're happy in life, then no matter what anybody says about you, it should just bounce right off of you, because it's like, there's nothing that somebody could say that's going to steal my happiness, right? That'd be a choice that I would be giving them a piece of my happiness and letting them in that deep. And I just don't, because I'm happy and I'm confident with what I'm doing. I know my trade, I know my craft, I know what I'm talking about. And so it doesn't matter what somebody else says. It just doesn't affect me anymore.
I think that's probably a perfect note to start winding up on, to be fair. We tried to keep these to about an hour. So when you've got a deep thinker like me and a deep thinker like you, the conversation's always going to go a little bit deep at some point. But
turn on my lava lamp and my get my we'll get in Zen mode.
So parting thoughts, words of wisdom, aside from the wisdom you just dropped a second ago, for people who are wanting to start, wanting to grow, wanting to scale, wanting to change, literally just leveling up from where they are right now to where they want to be, what words of general wisdom would you give as your parting advice to those?
I think the parting advice that I give to everybody is to just be authentic. If you're not authentic, number one, people are gonna feel it from you, and number two, you're gonna end up burning out, because it's so much harder to put on a front than it is to just be yourself. Like, we're literally talking all day long, every single day. We're having conversations all day long, and all that YouTube or social media or video marketing should be in general is an extension of those conversations. It shouldn't be something that you have to make up, or that you have to overproduce, or that you have to act out. It should just be an extension of the conversations, talking about the things that you love and finding people who love the same stuff. So authenticity, it's a big one.
Words of wisdom. There you have it. So if you want to work with Scott, if you want to dig into videos, video creation, videos and funnels.com, head on over there. Whether you're catching this live or on the replay, Scott, I'm sure, would be a joy to work with, because I work with him. He's a friend of Quicc's and someone who I definitely admire. So head on over to videosandfunnels.com if you want to dip into Scott's world a little bit more deeply. But on that said, thank you, Scott, for joining. It has been a pleasure as always. And there you go.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and then also I just want to say, if you're on Facebook, come over to the Video Marketing World Facebook group. We have a lot of A-list influencers there that are always dropping knowledge bombs and helping people grow. And so if you're new, or if you're experienced, come over to Video Marketing World, the Facebook group. We'd love to have you in there.
I'm already in there as well. So if you are having problems finding it, hit me up and I'll send you the link as well. I'll stick it into the comments of this video.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Scott. And we'll see you all again next week on next week's episode of Quicc Gains. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.